Here the harder, the down head mascuna. I saw a gana, Jalak Ojigunis, only Oje, huh? Here the huh? So, the he shall cycle to stay has give down head. You would say, going again.
Squeeze down. Now here to get her, Unico Talagani one is go. See down there, do Dotlasa, doing Dotlasa, Nigar, then your Lani one is good. Going here to Fla.
Una ye his gehoye dahan, nole. Ka get the doctor dis gehoye dahan. I the gig at the jag at the gig, and eager no do don't. Go he to guess it to your to guess it. Nika Georgie one is good. Ko he Diklaski news. Dini Yorkly any warning. Una ye his gehoye dahan.
I know Gadana Tessica, Lano, your say car, you dog a day on. I say now again after the hands could like go on easty, the dower day squat eye. Do you know your down Tetland, which we are down Tetland, go here.
Tấn đề quả khá ghê lê sco ổn trả nó tì niếu chờ ghê lê sẽ dứt tàu đà thiên hả
Lille tal Scotland á de tí gese do hi awan hilas ganana chatter husk lle ni woni di ni yol geli ha uloin ga jiwe se ho jatlanala de galt sanele go hus ni ga na elan gen gehes ukli now hisla na de tí gese now do hi o ulsket I galt ses hinana also huskinas igi woni hist oja de hona skinu yelt outleniga en elke g-stelte hinana his sudaleklen na de ti tge oglena Nela duna jun de ti jo jutstort jun dule jun de kwaste skinana en guardian o will skin now Tahlequah I go dort 2 years go dine del was. Go I tge ha no go dort 2 years. Hale sudet ye you dal John Lenny ha. He an now ja de ti now sudalina you dal on Lenny has need dine del was. Now no de kan sula o GIS. Go I ani look no le talina a del was. Joina a del was now ugo
CO! Boy, that sounds good. Well, we're going to get started in just a little bit. If you would start making your way to your seats, continue to visit for just a little bit, but we are going to get started here shortly. It is great to see everybody out there. Let me hear you say CO one more time. Oh, that's good stuff.
Stai dogi lastan hon do jehoska undulis kundel kwasti skena gelis go yoho nega yundel kwa
Ustinisti negesan kaliwo the Yunhowski Nielsen la or see idizak no ni lano kalo do jalakikak kalo one is negesan askano idat shahi alay Asking is to our to I Igi your safety negation Kali the Yuka one is like a gation I'll let you like a dante to get shine.
Utu gawa I go hit on a honey jalak Kiloka one is case
skin not done that squat galley skin honey one is cases skin a galley unas no Chú nước tốt nó unas tuần đa thiên hả chú này học tin sẽ lực askin nó thực ảo ha nè có askin nó ní sĩ đàn này là hiệnจะđàn đấy quá chú này học tin tuần đa thiên hả chú skate đấy sẽ lực có món này hist wo du ne na igi nei lo chalak.
Well, CEO, we are going to get this thing started. It is a great day. I was just talking with former Deputy Chief Stanley Joe Crittenden, and he was just said, Canaan, it's going to be a good day. Anybody agree with that? All right. Well, we're going to begin here, and we're going to begin by inviting a gentleman up to speak who you guys are very familiar with. A great gentleman, a guy I get to call friend, a guy I get to work with. He's our Deputy Chief, Mr. Brian Warner.
Siona, God. Woo, well, that sounds good. I mean, what a honor, what a distinction today will mean in the hearts of many, especially in the hearts of many when we think back. I sat with the group yesterday and they talked about the things at the Tower of Babel, before we all spoke one language. Then the Creator, God, He gifted us all a unique language, and we've carried that language through time. We've carried that language to a point to where we all understand that today is the day where the past has met with the present to decide where are we going in the future. And I understand, go ahead, yes. And it says in Isaiah, nations will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your dawn. Thanks be to God, because this is the word of our Lord. And as we come today, let's let our light shine throughout. Let our light shine not only for the language, because we know the language is central to the perpetuation of what it means to be the Cherokee Nation, to what it means to move forward, whether you're talking about your career, whether you're talking about your education, whether you're talking about your health. When we look to the language and all of things, it become possible. All things become clear. All things become relevant. Today is a day and time that we begin this perpetuation of something that many families have held sacred, and that is our language. But we remember that we do this in stride and step for step with our Creator, our God, the one that gifted each of you with a unique, distinct talent, one that gifted each of you the opportunity to be diligent with your talent. Because it's because of your diligence. It's because of the diligence of men like Sequoia, Durbin Feeling. It's because of the diligence of our beloved elders. It's because of the diligence of our beloved women of our tribe that we will see to a future that is brighter, where the language is spoken, where the language is understood, not just by Cherokees, but by all that walk by. Folks, today is a great day. If you grew up in a family that was blessed to carry on the Cherokee language, remember that you are blessed to be a blessing. And this very blessing that's bestowed on you by our Creator and our Savior is something that will be respected and will be revered by many, because you will pass this on. It is something that we were here to share, just as our Creator has taught us. There are many things that we do in our lives that we understand so much more than the others around us. And today is a day of understanding, where we look to one another to see the differences and find ourselves all unique, because we hold those differences between each of us sacred. And we hold an understanding that together, in the spirit of Gadugi, that has a spirit of spiritual groundedness to it, and it will only work in that level. So today, we stand on the rock. Today, we stand where our future is bright, because together we will perpetuate our language, and we will continue to do great things, not only here in the Cherokee Nation, but across the world. So today, folks, just take time to breathe in. Think about the divine intervention when the Creator came and gifted Sequoia, our syllabary. Think about what you're going to do today. Think about what we're going to instill into our children. Think about what you're going to grasp from our elders. And let's all remember how we hold our matrilineal society in the highest regard. So today, let's all be Cherokee for the sake of the future. Wadon. Thank you.
Before we get to the posting of colors, I would like to, we just passed a great holiday, Veterans Day. So if you are active duty military or a veteran, could you please stand if you're able? Wadon. Now, if everyone could please stand, we are going to have the posting of the colors at this time, followed by the singing of the Star Spangled Banner by the Cherokee National Youth Choir. You may be seated. As you can see on our agenda today, our next item was going to be our Chief of Staff, Mr. Corey Bunch, was going to come up and start this day off like we Cherokees start a day off, in prayer. But Chief of Staff regrettably could not make it today. He had something come up that was highly important. He hated to miss it. But we are going to ask a brother of Mr. Durbin Feeling, a man whose accolades speak for themselves, Mr. Russell Feeling, to come up and provide us with a prayer. If you would, please welcome Russell Feeling. Yeah, that's easier.
Uli helsti nigadan kosan alain. Unetana, det är dålig kärlek. Det är dålig lista. Skian etana he och gidåda gröld he. Galakti in deze don in. Ulosi Lord, ijanleli Czechoslovakia. Ale kodore guidisa nuste dulsnastana ganelgi jages utleneja. Osi jayelana negastanigale ojadatlenig. Jalagi gesa ojuonis nusta gesa niskidane lanele. Ogas ogatlanoest. Gewonis diskinel. Sila negat sis du dadi deg gaiotlegesa. Askelegesa uneko istigesa ugawas no. Dan Tesla na wajalent nido. Ijagesa adanela nana. Des wasti Cherokee in New York. Onin do die unitassen nana. Uskola istinige san gewoni ist. Alle Jule hisotin nana. Cherokee gesa gewoni ist. Skia jonskest. Ski dan etlana hestigesa nana yedan elidast. Den daten nido hegesa nana de hinna go wissa hest. Ostegesa junukten idaste. Ugatli lo hegesa nana. Cherokee Jule hisotin. Cherokee gewoni ist. De kanogi de le woduhegesa nana gewoni sidast. De kanohegesa nana. As kan nu steeds door jais. As kan na jujecht na wodi luchig. Alle nigesa ijaluche. O se jayela na le jakusta. Nana aske wasa he. Ugamotli lohiste. O jikta hale. Lagawa da nustigesa juda yala ta. Ni talzat de dagestigesa and de gatsta nitli. As kan no ko do gudesa ski lido hesti o jaisa. Ski e hoskestigesa nana. Taltelanska gelokt juge seste. As kan na iga gesa no. Talent ne do han ja. O gisteliske jisa du do stu nana ijalu hecha. As kan na nu steste ko do gudesa ge. Naskawu when the galsta.
Well, don't wrestle. You may be seated. Well, we have a few people in the crowd that we'd like to recognize. This is a very large crowd. I'm very proud and thankful that you guys are here today. Let's give each and every person that came here a round of applause today. Today is a very important day. A man that you will hear from in just a moment, of course, is here, Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. You heard from him just a bit ago, Deputy Chief Brian Warner. Former Principal Chief and current Executive Chairman of Cherokee Nation Businesses, Bill John Baker. Former Deputy Principal Chief and current Cherokee Nation Secretary of Veterans Affairs, S. Joe Crittenden. Cherokee Nation Secretary of State, Miss Tina Glory Jordan. Cherokee Nation Attorney General, Sarah Hill. Cherokee Nation Treasurer, Janice Taylor. Our Cherokee Nation Secretary of Natural Resources, Chad Harsha. A lady who's been fighting for a good while now and is continuing that fight, our Delegate to Congress and Senior Vice President of Government Relations, Ms. Kimberly Teehee. Former Principal Chief, Speaker of the Tribal Council, and current Cherokee Nation Special Envoy to International Affairs and Language Preservation, Joe Bird. Member of our Tribal Council that is here, the Speaker of the Tribal Council from District 9, Mike Shambaugh. Our Deputy Speaker from District 11, Victoria Vasquez. From District 1, Rex Jordan. From District 2, Candessa Teehee. From District 3, Wes Snowfire. From District 4, Mike Dobbins. From District 5, E.O. Jr. Smith. From District 7, Josh Sam. From District 10, Melvina Shotpouch. District 12, Dora Smith-Padskowski. District 14, Keith Austin. District 15, Danny Callison. And one of our at-large representatives, Johnny Jack Kidwell. We have Cherokee Nation royalty here, Miss Cherokee Lauren Fields. And Junior Miss Cherokee Maisie Fields. Members of our Cherokee Nation Businesses Board of Directors, Mr. Sean Shepard. Mr. Jerry Holderby. Mr. Dan Carter. Mr. Buck George. And Miss Lena Carson. Another man that you will hear from in just a bit, our Cherokee Nation Executive Director of Language, Howard Payton. And I am a former tribal counselor for District 7 and Cherokee Nation's Senior Advisor for Community Engagement, Kanan Duncan. Some other dignitaries I would like to recognize. An Adair County boy from the U.S. Department of Interior, Bureau of Indian Education, Mr. Tony Dearman. Oklahoma House Representative, Mark Van Curren. Oklahoma House of Representative Chris Sneed. The Executive Director of American Indian Education, Oklahoma State Department of Education, Jackie L. White. Director of American Indians in Medicine and Science at OSU College of Osteopathic Medicine, Jackie Secondine Hensley. From Northeastern State University, President Steve Turner. Also from Northeastern State University, Dr. Ron Cambiano. Vice President for Academic Affairs at Rogers State University, Dr. Richard Beck. Local officials here from Tahlequah City Council Ward 4, Trey Ratliff. Tahlequah City Council Ward 2, Stephen Hires. If we have any other tribal officials from any other tribe here, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Thank you. And now a special group of people that we have to recognize here. Would the family of Durbin Feeling please stand up and be recognized? I'm telling you, this day just keeps getting better, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, it's going to get it a little bit better now. A gentleman whose vision brought today, his leadership and devotion has brought today to life. He's a gentleman that I've got to work alongside and see his passion every day, not for the tribe as a whole, not just for the tribe as a whole, but for the language and culture. Every day it's something that's on his mind. He's my chief and he's your chief, Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin, Jr.
Kanan Sionagad, my fellow Cherokees, what a great day it is here in the capital of the Cherokee Nation. Deputy Chief, members of the council, members of the cabinet, friends near and far, we have all gathered here for a special day because today we start a new chapter in our effort to save the Cherokee language. We today continue on our shared mission to keep whole what it means to be Cherokee in a great facility named for our late great language warrior, Durbin Feeling. Language, that chain that links every one of us, will not be broken thanks to the efforts we put forward here today. Before I go further into my remarks, I want to acknowledge those former tribal leaders who have worked to advance the cause of saving our great language. There are so many of them, too many to mention them all, but I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't note that Chief Bill John Baker, my predecessor, had the vision to plant the seeds of so much of what we are seeing working so well in our language program today. He saw the casino. Under his watch, what became eventually the old casino, as he built a new one. He saw that building not for what it was, but what it could be and the potential that it had. He had a knack for seeing things that took a great deal of vision. And this, I think, Chief, has to be at the top of your list. And y'all, I will forever be grateful for your vision that brought us here today. I want to thank the council, past and present, for supporting what Deputy Chief Warner and I proposed in 2019, the Durbin Feeling Language Preservation Act. That law injected historic funding into this cause and took Chief Baker's vision, expanded upon it, and created the $20 million state-of-the-art facility that will serve us so well for generations to come. My fellow Cherokees, our language and our culture are inseparable. Language, as I say, is that chain that links us to the past. It's what binds us together today. It's the key to the Cherokee people remaining a distinct people into the future. Our culture, as we know, has been tested ever since European contact. War, disease, broken treaties, our forced removal, the suppression of our government, and the influence of the so-called civilized society around us has put our culture and our language to the test. Now, we're a strong people, but our lifeways and our language have been eroded by all of these pressures over time. We stand today as the largest tribe in the United States, yet we have been reduced to around 2,000 fluent speakers of our language in a nation of over 440,000. Our language continues to be tested. Today, the passage of time and the fragility of human life is the greatest test that we've ever faced when it comes to preserving our language and culture. History, my fellow Cherokees, will judge us on whether we can meet this present test and not only save the Cherokee language, but to revitalize it as a part of the day-to-day lives of our people. Generations from now, I have no doubt that Cherokee people and the Cherokee Nation will continue to do great things. But will we continue as a distinct people connected to our past through our language? Generations from now, will we remain the greatest force for economic vitality in this region? I believe we will. Generations from now, will our health system remain the best in Indian country? I think it will be the best in the world generations from now. Will we work to craft an unparalleled system of public safety and justice for all here on the Cherokee Nation Reservation? Yes, we can. We will continue to lead on education. We will continue our efforts to conquer poverty. We will continue to do our part to solve problems of the environment. We will continue to lead on other things of great importance. I truly believe to my core that we can and we will for generations to come. But if we lose our language, if we lose that precious possession which binds us all, if we break that link to our past, we will have lost something that none of those accomplishments can make up for. We will have lost a link in the chain that connects us to our very creation. Now, most Cherokees today are like their chief. They don't speak Cherokee. After OCO and Tohiju, I'm looking around for Tommy Wildcat to bail me out. But when I walk into this building, and this happened yesterday when I took a tour, and young Cherokees are there speaking circles in Cherokee around their chief, I never have been more proud. I know that one of the children that come to this great facility to learn will one day lead this nation as a fluent speaking chief of the Cherokee Nation. Today, my fellow Cherokees, we are all on a mission to meet the test before us. Whether we speak the language or not, we hold it somewhere in our hearts. We are all on a mission to keep this chain unbroken. We are all on a mission to ensure that generations from now, the Cherokee people will know that we stood up to meet the test, that we did our part to save and revitalize the Cherokee language. Failure on this mission, my fellow Cherokees, is not an option. But standing here a short distance from the Durbin Feeling Language Center, the world-class Center for Indigenous Language Preservation, I am more convinced than ever that on this mission, we must not fail, we cannot fail, and I know from the bottom of my heart, after today, we will not fail. Thank you all very much. Wado.
Thank you, Chief. If that don't get your fire lit, your wood's wet, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you. Well, the next gentleman that we're going to ask to come up is another guy that I'm so proud to see here. He comes from my hometown. He pulled in a vehicle earlier, and I got behind this vehicle, and I seen a sticker on the back that said, K-Spring Hornet for Life. Some of you guys know that. Up next, you're going to hear from him. He's the director of, let me find it here, I lost my place. He's the director of Bureau of Indian Education, Mr. Tony Dearman.
Well, it's great to be home. It truly is. When Secretary Holland received the invitation, they asked who could come and speak today, and it's like, I will. That's me. I want to go home. I want to go see family. Send me. I'll go. And thankfully, Secretary Holland and the Assistant Secretary, Brian Newland, gave me the honor to be here today to speak on their behalf. As Kanan said, I am Tony Dearman, and I'm the Director of the Bureau of Indian Education. I am a local. I consider myself a local. Went to Cave Springs High School, taught at Sequoia High School. And I'm feeling old today because some of my former students have come up and said, do you remember me? I was in your class. Or what are you doing now? Well, I'm on council. Oh, wow. So it's great to be back. A little bit about me is my grandparents, Rufus Smith and Leona Smith. Leona Bush was her maiden name. They created a home where they spoke Cherokee every day, and that was the main language. I was raised or babysat by my great aunt, Lillian Bush, and she spoke Cherokee every day. Very little English. If there was one regret that I have in my upbringing is I did not pursue the Cherokee language. Chief, he's right about, a lot of people, once they get up here, Osio, Dohiju, you'd start looking around for support. I was raised with that support, and I feel like I missed a great opportunity. So I would definitely encourage all of our young people in the crowd, please listen, learn your language, learn your culture, learn the traditions of our people. It's important. Cherokee Nation leadership has been a visionary in language revitalization, investing millions in each year into language initiatives. And I'll say this, Howard Payton, we just honored the Cherokee Nation about 3 weeks ago, I think, or a month ago, for the language program. And if that guy ever loses his motivation, we're in trouble. That guy is excited, he's motivated, and he tells a great story. So again, thank you, Cherokee Nation leadership. The Durbin Feeling Language Center will significantly directly impact many youth throughout our nation. It's definitely something that a lot of tribes are leaning toward. There's something that Howard always says when we have meetings. We all know that COVID, the pandemic, really hit our language speakers hard, including my family, where we lost 2 of our members of our family that were fluent language speakers. It's critical right now for our tribes to make it a priority, and a lot of our tribes have made it a priority to make sure that we do have language revitalization programs implemented. The Biden-Harris administration has made language revitalization a government-wide, multi-agency initiative across the Department of Interior, Education, Health and Human Services. We have an MOU right now, or MOA in place right now with many agencies across the government. Because under our current leadership, we're hearing loud and clear from our tribes how important language revitalization really is. We know in the BIE that we need to promote language, cultural revitalization, because we need to fulfill our commitment in furthering tribal sovereignty. And it's critical that our students learn their cultures, their language. Language is an inherent part of the student's culture. Encouraging students to learn their language is an integral part of our mission to provide a culturally relevant education. We know that if students learn their language, it's going to be a way that we can preserve it and we can carry on our traditions, our language, and our cultures. We have some of our schools across the Bureau of Indian Education. We have schools in 183 schools, 23 states, 64 reservations. In some of our schools, we will have as many as 70 to 75 different tribal languages. And it's important that the government partner with our tribes to make sure that we're supporting the tribal language programs. And under our current leadership, that's definitely happening. And again, I want to thank our Cherokee Nation leadership because of your having the visionary leadership that you've had to preserve the language and create programs and to bring in our people like you have today. It's incredible. And I want to thank you for that on behalf of the Secretary of Interior and the Assistant Secretary, Brian Newland. So congratulations to the Cherokee Nation for this incredible step on our language and culture revitalization. Wadon.
Well, as Chief Hoskin mentioned earlier, a lot of these great initiatives wouldn't be possible without the support of a great tribal council. And a man who helps lead that tribal council is going to be up next. He's the speaker of the council, Mr. Mike Shambaugh.
Wow. It's amazing. I knew there was a lot of people here, but standing here facing you now, this is a testament how important this day is to the Cherokee Nation. Not only to look at all of our leaders who are here and the people who have worked so hard on this and our tribal council who has supported this, but the people, the Cherokee Nation, you have came out to support this, which speaks volumes about how important this day is to our people and our tribe. I am Mike Shambaugh. I am the Speaker of the Tribal Council. It's been an honor to serve in that position the short time that I've been there. But I'll tell you, when I first got in the Tribal Council, I'm on my second term now, but my first term, I had the honor of being under the tutelage of Chief Bill John Baker. And when I first found out that we were going to build another casino and they were trying to figure out what we were going to do with this wonderful building over here, nobody really knew that it was going to turn into what it turned in today, I don't think. But then when they said it was going to be our language center, I had no idea that the magnitude of this building was going to be as far as language preservation. And I think the council voted on it 100% to support that. Well, when I was growing up, I remember spending weekends pretty much at the creek with my family, my great-grandma, my grandma. Very little English was spoken on the creek. I never learned Cherokee, and I never knew why I wasn't pushed to do that. And listening to Chief speak about how throughout the years, you know, there's been a lot of oppression toward the Cherokee Nation. Well, I finally asked my mother, said, why didn't you teach me Cherokee when I was growing up? And her answer is going to be one that probably some people here will be able to relate to. She said when she was young and when she was in school, if you spoke Cherokee in school, you got beat. It was not accepted. And she said her children would not go through the same thing as she went through. So I thought, well, that's a horrible thing, but for a mother to go through that, or for a person to go through that and then have kids and worry about that happening to their kids, you think, what kind of world is that? Where are we at in the world? Well, I can tell you what, today, never again will we ever have to worry about that in our language. And when I stand here, I have to reflect and think, how do you put things in perspective, what is happening today? We go from 70 years ago to it not being good to speak Cherokee, and you can be punished for that. And we go from then to today, when we have a wonderful building that is going to ensure that our language is protected for years to come. That's where we were, that's where we are now. I hope you all understand that everybody here is now part of history. This is a historical day for the Cherokee Nation. This is our first step, really our first big step of how we are going to preserve our language and promote this to our younger generation and get our older generation involved to teach that younger generation. That is so important. So, Chief, Deputy Chief Howard, your people, Speaker Byrd, I still call you Speaker Byrd, sorry, but Tribal Council, I am so proud to be a part of today, and I know you are too. So in closing, I would like to say, Russell, you know, it's an honor. Russell's a preacher in my district. I can't say enough to say thank you to you and your family on allowing us to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. May you be blessed. Have a safe trip going home, and I hope that we all get to go take a tour of this beautiful building. I've been told that we will not be disappointed. We're done.
Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker today will be a gentleman who was a former principal chief, and I believe he was the last modern-day elected Cherokee-speaking chief. He is now the Special Envoy for International Affairs, Joe Byrd.
Sio Nigada. Nigadi Ziza Legi Ziwon Nishti Zaleha. Let's see what we have here. Let's see how many speakers are here. Well done. You know, I had the privilege of working with Durbin Feeling back in Wiley Hall when we leased that from NSU some years ago. He always had this dream of language perpetuation, not preservation, but perpetuation, how we continue to use that. Most of you may know that in Washington, D.C., every state gets to instill 2 statues. It's called the Hall of Statues there in Washington, D.C. Each state has the opportunity to do 2. The state of Oklahoma, the 2 that are instilled, the statues, Sequoia, Will Rogers. You have 39 tribes, but look who got to instill 2 Cherokees, Sequoia. Durbin has always been referred to as a modern-day Sequoia. And when I look at the facility, as I toured the facility, I can't help but think of the people that have gone before us that's made it possible for us to be here today, that's fought for the rights of our nation to hold on to the sovereignty that we have and to protect the culture, the language, and the health of what we have. And the names that come to mind are people like Totem Hare, Woody Hare, Evelyn Bush, that's gone before us. And I think of people like Guy Soldier, Lee Seven Star, Richard Pickup. These are the guys that have continued to fight for what we have today. And it hasn't been easy. But for us Cherokee people, we're used to that. We're used to fighting for our sovereignty at the national level. We're used to disagreeing with the governor on issues about sovereignty. That's who we are. But we can handle that adversity because we've been there and done that. It's nothing new when we read in the news that someone's attacking our sovereignty. You know, we've already played that game before, and we know how it's going to end because we have God on our side because He created the Cherokee people. I want to commend this current administration. First, I'd like to commend, as it stated earlier, Mr. Bill John Baker, who made that turn in where we were able to utilize the foundations that was laid before. And Bill John took those ideas and he put them in place. I had the privilege of being the speaker when he was the chief. A lot of vision, a lot of planning with Deputy Chief Joe Crittenden. And what we have today, Principal Chief Chuck Hoskins, Deputy Chief Brian Warner. I've seen them out in communities. I've seen them stay in touch and be connected to who we are today as Cherokee people. As Chief Hoskins said, We're not going to fail. I see future generations of our people that will speak the language. I see leaders today. We've got a Secretary of Interior that's Native American. That's the first time in history. Our Secretary of Interior got a female up there, Deb Highland. That's a big deal, folks. As I walked around this morning, I saw our cooks up there. Wow, I don't know how many black kettles they had up there, Howard, but those guys know how to cook. And it may not be gluten-free, folks, but it'll be really, really good. As I walked in some years ago, I was the head coach at a little school, Bale Elementary. And I think back, that wasn't that long ago, 1984. My whole starting five on the basketball team could all speak Cherokee. The starting five could speak Cherokee. And we would go play Cave Springs, Greasy, Dahlonega, Zion, and they could speak Cherokee. I saw one of my students back there, Garland Soap, Chris Soap. And it was so good to see him. I said, you remember how we would tell each other? I said, Garland, he still, Nulan, Garland. And he just grinned. That's how we communicated back then. And you know, I see this new generation coming back, Kanan Duncan, second language speaker. We're going to get that language back because as the deputy chief talked about the Tower of Babel, God created the Cherokee language. He didn't create it for us to lose. He created it for us to use, people. I could go on and talk a lot about where we are and where we're going, but it's a good day. I just really feel good. I woke up this morning and just feeling good because when you think in Cherokee, there's a feeling that you get, and it's hard to describe. When one thinks in Cherokee, you think of good things. You think of harmony. You think of beautiful colors. You think of nature. You think of birds and animals and water. Everything is a flow. Everything is harmony when you can get your mind set in the Cherokee way as God created us. And as soon as you get away from that way of thinking, you get on your computer and you have to catch a flight and you've got a meeting here, you go, wow, how did I get over here? Then you have to get back over here in that way, the way you were created. And it lowers your blood pressure if you can think in Cherokee. For those of you who want to learn a little bit of Cherokee, when I stay in my Cherokee way, my blood pressure is really good and normal. As soon as I get over here and have to go catch a flight and have to go to all these meetings and do these time, then it goes back up. Somewhere there's got to be a balance there, and I've learned to do that. In closing, what I'd like to do, it's not on the agenda, but I want to ask Russell Feeling to come up. And if everybody could stand, would stand, my part in closing is going to be, we have one of the largest group of Cherokee people here. Russell's going to lead us in Amazing Grace because, folks, today it is an amazing grace.
Hey, Russell, first and last verse. Okay, all right. The God, he didn't know again. Udelana hiuweji igai kuya heye naigujosa we Igai kuya hodna unai dana tia neha doda yana hire
What on? I don't know how this day just keeps getting better. You know, I've got to do some pretty cool stuff in my life that God's blessed me with the opportunity to do, but I don't know if I've ever been prouder or happier than when Speaker asked all the Cherokee speakers to stand up. And I see my dad sitting over there, Randy Duncan. I'm glad you're here, Dad. Next gentleman we're going to have come up today is a man that Tony Dearman talked about his passion, Chief Hoskin has talked about his passion, deputies talked about his passion. If you haven't met this man, I ask that you find him here today because you'll see him and just sit down and speak with him for just a moment, and you'll figure out that he's on fire for the language. And as you can tell by these initiatives, he's on fire for the language because he's a big driving force of these projects. He's our Director of Language at the Cherokee Nation, Mr. Howard Payton.
Wado. Seal daw this daw. Charlotte go on his name was stuck a little stunning, Seal the God, I'm honored to be here today. Mr. Cannon, you got me choked up talking about Mr. Randy Duncan. This house is full. We'll have a speakers meeting here in just a little bit. And I wouldn't be one bit surprised if it don't get even fuller. We'll have a good time. I'm humbled to be here today at this specific time in history to bear witness to the mighty hand of God, to the reuniting and the reigniting of the original design purpose of Ani Jalakale, Ani Gaduwag. We are ancient people extolled by Unethanahim to keep certain ways intact unto the very end of time. All of these things hinge on our sacred language remaining in the soul of our nation. We must know within all of our hearts that every Cherokee desires to be a better Cherokee. And that's something sometimes a little hard for me to believe, but it's true. Every Cherokee desires to be a better Cherokee. If that wasn't so, then the greatest insult wouldn't be to a Cherokee that you're not acting like a good Cherokee. That's still the standard of who we are as a people, is to be a good Cherokee, to be a Nikaduwag. This standard can only be mined in Charlotte. Gawonahiste Dikonoa Duskin. Unetanahi Wotlan. Dejda Gayu Sesti, Dejda Clea Sesti, Dejda Lawo Desti, Uskedi, Dejda Yila Sesti. And without it, we can't remain a people which we were created. At Turtle Island, Unetana gave us this gift. At Amaya Yech, through this medium of Cherokee, he taught us how to love the undesirables. At Tahlequah, he gave us our name, Anikaduwag. He gave us our clans. At Tahlequah, with the help of our friends from Tahlequah, we will heal ourselves and we will change the world. We are a people who have endured great tribulations, but still we remain. Our people have been beaten, killed, caused to march to a frozen grave. We have had our children stolen. We have had them stolen and never returned. We have had our kids placed in boarding schools where they were beat and dare not speak another utterance of their mother's tongue. We have been mocked, belittled, given lesser jobs, been targeted by great giant drug companies, our land stolen, The list goes on and on. I remember when the first meeting we met with architects about this building, they asked, "What do you want?" And there were several of us there. And I told them that day of a story of a man that I met that lost his pinky for speaking his language in boarding school. And I told them that we wanted a beacon that stood upon a hill for the world to see for indigenous languages, and a place that person, that gentleman, can drive by and know he didn't lose his pinky for no good cause. And that, my friend, is what we wanted. Today we stand here giddy because we know we haven't begun to fight. Because this war isn't in the battlefields. This war is not in the courtrooms. It's not in the halls of Congress. It's not in the Supreme Court. This war we can't lose, but it's within every Cherokee, whether or not we're going to keep the heart of who we are. And our language is twisted in that heart. And there's no way to have a heart without a language. And we know that this battle is going to be fought internally within our hearts. It's going to be fought in every decision, Chief, that we make, Deputy, that we make about whether or not we're going to be Duyukta or not. It is who we are. We have to be a distinct people. We can't be what the mainstream world is. We have to be distinct. We have to be a Nikaduwag. We have to walk in the right path on the white road. This building that was named after one of our Cherokee heart generals, Durbin. This language campus is a signal to the world that they have woken a sleepy giant. This building wasn't named after Durbin because he was an excellent speaker or a linguist, although he was both of them things. It was named after him because the life he lived. It was named after him because he was Gadua. It was named after him because he walked the white path. Uneg, no. He got the attention of our elders. He got the attention of our young people. He got the attention of Unechana. He walked in a way that shook and cracked the earth and allowed a seed to be born. And that is what we see here today. We are not here to just speak Cherokee and to learn Cherokee, but we're here to be a Nikaduwag. Here we will create a new generation of first language Cherokee speakers. Here our babies will learn our plants. They will hear our stories. They will eat the foods from our ancient seeds that we plant here. We will give them the best we have to offer. They will be in a language village here and grow up beside first language speakers. This will be a language campus that will change the world and definitely change our tribe and our language fight. We will do the right thing. We will think right. This is a battle for our heart, and we will win. Wadon, enjoy your allegiance to God.
Thank you, Howard. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't met Howard Payton, go sit down with him. Despite what you might have seen on Facebook from times, I ain't lying about that. So, joke didn't go over. I'm sorry. Well, at this time, you see Miss Mita Nix's immersion class is going to come up and bless us with a song. As they make their way up, yes, give them a round of applause. Looks like we have multiple classes, actually. This is going to be great. So as they make their way up, all the staff that helped put this together, all the language warriors that worked so hard to make this day happen, would you please stand? Please don't be shy. Staff, a lot of them are probably already standing. Let's give them a round of applause. We also have a gentleman that drove here yesterday. You may have seen him. He's kind of a goofy-looking guy, but he's nice as all get out. Our former chief of staff, Mr. Todd Enlow, is here. And Todd worked tirelessly on this as well. Former Chief Bird, he would like, and I'm glad he did this. I didn't know she was here, but Myrtle Driver, will you please stand and be recognized? Myrtle is with the Eastern Band, and she is a language warrior. There she is, Myrtle. She's another one. If you have a chance, go visit with Myrtle. I dare you not to laugh in that conversation. She's fun to be around. So at this time, I'm going to shut up and let these kids sing beautifully. Let's give those kids one more big round of applause. Little guy on the front row, he's been to church before because when that bass part hit, he tucked his chin and says, "Ski, stay, lee, ski." There is somebody else here, a couple of folks I'd like to recognize. As Chief Hoskin had mentioned earlier, it takes buy-in from all over when you're talking about saving a language. Childers Architects, they have worked on several of our projects, and there's none better, folks, that want to hear you out and take everything you put forward to heart. So let's give them a round of applause. Alongside them, there's a gentleman I spoke to on his way here, and he said, "Kanan, this has been my favorite project because it's real. It's from the heart. It's a project from the heart." And he's a man who was over the construction of this, Mr. Kenny Foreman with Foreman Construction. Please stand, Kenny. Well, that's going to conclude the ceremony, folks. Before we conclude, we are going to do tours, and we're going to eat all over in the new Durbin Feeling Language Center. Out these doors here, we're going to have some golf carts to shuttle you over. Out the back door, there's going to be buses to shuttle you over if it's a little too cold. Howard, you got an announcement? Okay, so we will eat over there at noon, and then Cherokee Speakers, we're going to meet back here at 1 o'clock to have our speakers meeting. Please come to that. It's going to be a good time. It's just going to be fellowship. I'm going to leave you with one thing. Another language warrior that's here today, Wyman Kirk, told me one time that has always stuck with me. He said, "We're going to speak our language today, tomorrow, and forever." Wadon. One more final announcement. Whenever you go to eat over there, Cherokee Speakers first in line. Please let the Cherokee Speakers go first in line. Thank you.